Why does Tom Cruise need that much money? Tell me why.
What I was gonna say as far as the whole Tom Cruise situation, and just in general, any of those big names, at the end of the day, it's what's being sold is the name and not necessarily. I don't want to say
The
necessarily
film.
the product, because
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
kind of
But that's
like
true.
people when they buy like a Louis Vuitton bag. The
Mm-hmm.
price isn't in necessarily just in the bag; it's in the name. You're paying
Yeah.
for the name at the end of the day,
Yeah.
which to me is just kind of. I'm not to say that you're not paying for quality, but
Yeah.
I wouldn't know because I'm not a purse fanatic. But you're at the end of the day, you're ultimately paying for the name, and that's the case here. You're ultimately paying for the name to say,
Yeah.
"Oh, so and so is in my movie. This big name star is in
Yeah.
my movie." You
Yeah.
know, and that's for some people that, which, because it's the logic of a lot of these companies where it's like, oh, we want to draw people in, so let's put XYZ big name person in
Right.
our film.
Right.
Which, personally, I don't think that should be the draw of a film. Is whether or not it's going to be an entertaining film to watch.
Right.
Whether an entertaining doesn't have to be ha 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 ha, it made me laugh entertaining. No, like
Mm-hmm.
you have to watch it and enjoy it. If it's not enjoyable,
Right.
then what's the point? Oh, I went to see XYZ movie with XYZ A-list celebrity actor, and then it was trash. What? Like, what did I pay my money for
Right.
at that point?
But a
Whereas,
lot of the times, sorry to cut you off.
no, go
But
ahead.
it's literally like a lot of the times you're paying for the name. Like the
Right.
movie could be interesting. Like again, we're gonna bring up, I don't know, Tom Cruise. And let's say Tom Cruise is in a movie with Jamie Foxx, right? And you're like,
Collateral.
ooh, exactly. Or you get a full on action pack, these is kung fu fighting, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, what? What? You know what I'm saying? Tom Cruise, as old as he is, you like, yo, my boy still got the moves. Okay, white man.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And then you see Jamie Foxx, and you just like, what Jamie gonna do? And then, it's a whole thing, but you're paying for it because you believe in these people's talents.
Mm-hmm.
That's also a thing too, because honestly, if I'm going to see a movie and my whole thing is I I need to know who in the movie in order for me sometimes it's like who's in this movie?
Right.
Like for Black Panther, when I saw Black Panther and I looked at the cast, right? And I said, "Oh, Chadwick right?" And I'm just looking through the cast. I said, "Oh, they got my girl Angela. Oh, yeah, I'm definitely going to go see it. Definitely going to go. I ain't even have to look past nobody else because once I saw, I was like, oh, Michael B. Jordan.
Right.
Okay, we gon' it's a little wobbly there. You know what I'm saying?
Yo, this
it's a
girl
little,
and,
it's a
and
little.
Michael B. Jordan and his acting. I cannot with
You
her.
want to know what's crazy?
At least it
Okay, you're
wasn't
not gonna
Shamar
do me
Moore. I'm
like
just
that.
saying.
Stop it. Because what you're not gonna do is trying to make me seem like I don't like Michael B. Jordan and his acting. The thing is, my beef with Michael B. Jordan is that he doesn't play a villain well. That's the only issue.
You
He can
make a
play a
good point.
superhero. He
Mm,
can play a great superhero. Even in the movie Survivor's Remorse. I didn't watch it, but I know that he can play a good superhero. Creed, he can play a great superhero. He's literally just playing a superhero from the hood, from the streets. You know what
right.
I'm saying? He can play a great superhero, but he cannot play a great villain. It takes a great actor to play a great villain. And my point stands because, and you can't debate me on this. You want to know why? Because nobody can debate me on this part because my statement is true. It takes a great actor to play both a great superhero and a great villain. Not everybody can do both. And you saw that with Michael B. Jordan. And it's no shade again. It's no shade to my boy because I appreciate his work and I love what he does. However, Killmonger, no.
I would argue that is not so much that he can't play a great villain. I would say he's not believable as a villain, and that's what makes it thing. Because just there's a certain finesse to being a villain that I feel like he can't really embody as well as someone else.
Okay, so I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say this. It's not that he can't play a great villain, right? Like you said, I think it takes more time. I feel like okay. Here's the thing. Had he gotten this role and Lori Harvey broke his heart, he would have been able to do it. I promise you. Because you have to act sometimes, you have to act out of emotion. And he didn't necessarily get ever. I feel like this was his first time being heartbroken. And if
Mm-hmm.
he were to audition and play for that role instead of his homeboy being like, because I feel like it had something to do with Ryan Coogler being like, oh yeah, yo, Michael B audition, blah blah blah, right?
Mm-hmm.
He got the role. It's in the bag. It's his, right? Whether it
Mm-hmm.
happened that way or not, you already know who you want to be in a movie,
Right.
right? However, comma, he has to go through something and experience it and deal with heartbreak and all of the above in order to tap in. And he needed to
Right.
tap in for
Right.
his whole life. He needed to tap in because I didn't feel it. I was just like, yeah, you can memorize monologues and all that stuff, and that's great. But if you can't evoke certain emotions and stuff out from the character and bring it out,
Mm.
who's going to believe you? Again, like you said, you got to make it believable. He didn't make it believable. He didn't convince me that he was a villain. He just displayed that he was being reckless.
Right.
And I just did not believe any of it. Wholeheartedly, I didn't believe any of it.
Because the anger came through, but it was just it. I don't want to say it came out flat, but
But it did come out
it,
flat.
it yeah, it did. Because I don't want to speak too negatively, just in general. Because it's Michael B. Jordan. He's a cool dude.
I
He can
love Michael
actually
B.
act.
Jordan.
We love Michael B. Jordan,
Yeah.
but it did feel it. Now that you're mentioning it, that like the moment in the museum where he's talking to the museum employee. I don't know what her
Yeah,
actual
yeah.
role is, but and he's talking about how this was taken from Africa and da 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 and whatever whatever. Like that is a great bit of speech, right? For a villain. Like yeah, I get it. However, it does when you really think about it, it does kind of fall flat emotion
Hmm.
wise and as far as like motivation for a villain. Like I get that he was trying to in a way we know what his ultimate motivations were was to get the vibranium from the Wakandan
Hmm.
weapons and whatnot, right? We
Hmm.
know that that's what his motivation was, but at the same time, it didn't feel flavorful enough
It didn't.
to put it that to because that's the only way I could really describe it. It didn't
Yeah.
have the spice that it needed, the Salt Bay on the performance.
No, it needed Louisiana's Cajun seasonings,
It needed something
herbs and
more
spices.
than just the anger because if you really think about it, a situation like that where it's like, oh, my country was pillaged and put in a museum and all this other stuff, I would think in a way it's not just anger that would be behind that, It'd be anger. And
Right.
then on top of that, you also have to consider that, you know, he's a Wakandan out of Wakanda, never know what Wakanda was like,
Right.
all of
Right.
that stuff, and to know the history behind his own country, and knowing that this is Wakandan tech, that it was stolen out of out of his home country, a country he's never known,
Hmm.
that because of his uncle murking his dad. Like
Yeah.
that's deep, deep resentment, deep anger.
Yeah.
That is, it's a
Yeah.
much more stronger emotion than just simply just regular degular anger. It's spicy anger.
Yeah.
So yeah, because if he was able to put all of that into it, then maybe it might have come out differently. But
Because the
also, like you said, it's not necessarily that experience isn't necessarily his experience. You need
hmm
other things to channel those emotions. So I think with your
hmm
assessment might actually be correct, be right, where if he were to audition for Killmonger now, his performance would be far different because he's grown
chills.
as a
Chills.
person.
We would we'll be crying if you're like, yeah, bro,
And
you could be mad too. Yeah.
right, because like we emotionally connect with the character, whereas
Mm-hmm.
we're connecting with him from a logical standpoint, where it's like, yeah, okay, yeah, he kind of does have a point, right? Whereas
Mm-hmm.
we didn't and that's part of the reason why I feel like you feel the way that you feel, because you didn't connect emotionally with the character, because you didn't.
Mm-hmm.
And that's ultimately what uh and I
What
know
it
we were
comes
going
down to.
on long about this, but ultimately
No, no,
that's
no,
what
it's
it takes
fine.
to create a character, or have a movie that's great, is when you
Mm-hmm.
can connect with those characters on an emotional
Yeah.
level and relate to those
Yeah.
characters on an emotional level. You don't have to necessarily be able to relate to their particular situations, but
Yeah.
ultimately that's what it comes down to. That's how we're able as human beings to relate to each other, is through
Yeah.
emotional experiences. So,
Yeah.
yeah, we just went on a whole tangent about
No, no, no,
Black Panther,
because
but
I'm
yeah.
gonna go back to um so there's a particular part where he does like that whole monologue where he
Mhm.
talks about the being held by bondage or whatever the
Mhm.
whole situation is, but it's that whole monologue right there where you're supposed to feel something,
Mhm. You
especially
mean at
with
the
that
end
being.
of the film when he's dying on the hill and he's like, essentially that I'd rather essentially that I'd rather die here rather than being in chains, kind of thing,
Mhm.
because
Yeah.
if because uh T'Challa could have saved them,
Yeah.
but because of their tech, but he was like,
Yeah.
I'd rather die like the slaves that went overboard
Mhm.
than to
Yeah.
live as a slave, essentially, because
Yeah. Yeah.
he'd basically have to be punished by the Wakandan government because he tried
Yeah.
to overthrow the
Yeah.
monarchy.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. But even in that moment, like
it
when he
was
died,
painful.
I was just like when he died, I was just like, dang.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? However, I just feel like I really and truly feel like that there should have been some more emotion behind that because I'm like, I need you to dig deeper. And you know how I'm hard on you, y'all. I got her doing auditions and stuff for something that we're working on. But anyway, you know how I'm hard on you when I tell you to tap into your emotions because you can feel it.
Mm.
Just like in the little short, you can see the
Which you could
playback
find
and
on
you look at
Instagram.
yourself per in the eye. It's gonna be in the eye. Um, but and you can also check out our director's commentary. That'll be in the eye of that.
Mm-hmm.
We'll make sure we put a sneak peek at the end of the video or something. Even when I tell you, hey, pull the emotion out, you wanna, put more emotion into it. Uh because you have to make it believable. You have to think of yourself. I don't want you to fully think of yourself being super depressed. However, if the role is calling for you to feel that, you know
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying? Think about somebody fussing or cussing you out or throwing something in your face. If you can put yourself in the character shoes like that, then it's like, okay, I can tap in. He's in this moment and we can never connect to the character. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? That's like if Viola Davis plays this character and we can't connect to her. You know what I'm saying? Playing the Woman King.
Right.
If we can't connect to the character, then I'm literally gonna be like, the movie was trash. You, you
Right.
know what I mean?
Which, to
Because
be
if I
fair,
can't
if it's
connect
Viola
to,
Davis, it's likely not gonna be
it's gonna
trash.
be amazing.
Okay.
It's gonna be amazing. It's gonna
Sidebar.
be amazing.
But go ahead.
I, because first of all, I believe in our girl and I believe in her abilities. Because period, her and his fist child. But anyway, she always throw this fist up, and she black y'all. Put both of them down. But anyway, I'm not expecting people to get it right every time. But if you can at least give me 60%, then I could be like, you know what? This was I. This was cool.
Mm.
Did I believe some of it? Yeah. But was it good? Yes. Because there's been a lot of films that I've watched. You know, I'll be watching the 2 hour, 3 hour Bollywood films, and they be extra. They be extra. But the storyline never fails me. Somebody could be dying. It's always somebody dying. The mama, the daddy, somebody dying. But the storyline and the acting never fails me. I said all that to say, um, you got to make the character believable. That's part of making a great film. You know, if you're auditioning or acting in a role or whatever you're doing, just make it believable. Even a written story, make it believable,
Right.
please.